How's it going, everyone? The PlayStation Store is currently running its Blockbuster game sale as well as its games under $20 sale. Want to take a look at some great deals without any price restrictions, so let's just get right into it and let's talk some good deals. First of all, Dying Light Definitive Edition is 75% off for $12.49. Honestly, one of the best deals across the entirety of the sale. Dying Light 1, I would say that 95% of people consider to be a superior game than Dying Light 2, and honestly, 95% might be putting it a little lightly. Dying Light 1 was a fantastic game that Techland stayed incredibly committed to. The game originally came out in January of 2015, and they recently stopped updating the game just a couple months ago, if I recall correctly, so they were like super committed to it and continually making the game better, adding new content, etc, etc. Dying Light 1 fundamentally is just a pretty good game, runs well on the PS5 as well. Solid story, parkour gameplay is great, and I think a lot of people prefer the combat in Dying Light 1 over Dying Light 2, but yeah, $12.49 for it is just excellent. If you have yet to play either, obviously start with Dying Light 1. If you only played Dying Light 2 for whatever reason, circle back and play Dying Light 1 as well, because it's a great game, and yeah, just an enjoyable game. Visually still looks really good, and performance-wise, it's one of the best running games and performing games back when it initially came out, and has just gotten better. Alright, next up, one of my favorite games of 2021, Tales of Arise is 50% off for $29.99. This is just a fantastic JRPG that I would argue, even if you're not a big fan of Japanese RPGs, it's still pretty easy to get into. The combat system is good, the cast of characters all have quite a bit of depth, and they're all likable in their own way. Yes, the story gets a little bit out there, like your JRPG crazy storyline, but it's a compelling story as well, and content-wise, there's a lot to do in the game. For $30, yes, a little bit on the pricier side, but it's an excellent game that's going to take you a bunch of hours. You're gonna get your money's worth, and you can play at a harder difficulty if you do want more of a challenge. Just a super enjoyable game, and I would strongly recommend it. There is a demo available if you want to try that out. Be my guest. There's some other editions available, but those other editions really aren't anything to write home about. You don't need to check any of those out. The standard edition is fine. $29.99 is a great price, and again, one of my top 3 games of 2021. I just really enjoyed it, and it's probably my favorite Tales of game at this point. Either this or Tales of Abyss. I go back and forth, and Tales of Vesperia is up there as well, but Tales of Arise I thought was fantastic, and I would strongly recommend it. Next up, Western RPG here, Mass Effect Legendary Edition, 60% off for $24. Game is available through EA Play, so if you want to play it that way, that is an option as well, but it's the Mass Effect trilogy. It's a fantastic trilogy of games. Think what you want about Mass Effect 3, it's still a very good game. Mass Effect 1 initially came out in 2007, and they did what they could to get it up to more modern suitability, but it still shows its age for sure. Mass Effect 2, in my opinion, is one of the greatest games of all time. I think a lot of people would agree with me on that as well. Mass Effect 2 is just damn near perfect, almost as perfect as you can get when it comes to an action RPG. Great narrative across the 3 games, and yeah, just very much worthwhile. And again, Mass Effect 1, while I say it shows its age, it's still definitely a worthwhile playthrough, and to get all 3 games for $24, great buy here, and of course they are upgraded, all that good stuff, so yeah, check that out. Next up, 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim, 60% off for $24. A game that I'm going to make a mission to mention it more on this channel, because I have done this game a disservice by not mentioning it as much as I should. Now, the game is one that has held up in price, so that's why, you know, in a lot of our videos, we do under $10 deals, under $5, etc. So it is $24, which is pricey. It came out at the end of 2020, but this is a game that if you like sci-fi titles, if you like a sci-fi story, if you like deep character development, and just crazy narratives, I don't want to get into spoilers because this game is kind of all over the place at first, but then it comes together so well. You're jumping from different time points and it's a little hard to follow again at first, but then couple hours go by and you start piecing things together, things start making sense, and it is just a phenomenal game narratively, and then the culmination of it all is done so well. Twists and turns everywhere, superb character development, character design. Obviously, it is a Vanillaware title, and those games all look fantastic, and it has the trademark fantastic art style, but at the same time, you do have the strategy gameplay aspect to it, the RTS battles, which I wasn't as big of a fan of, but they're fine. It's just, I think, from a narrative standpoint and that element of the game, this game is so strong. Soundtrack is great as well. Can't say enough good things about 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim. It's a game that you should absolutely play. $24 is a bit more on the expensive side, given it's, what, 2 years old at this point, but still a great deal, and strong recommendation there. Alright, next up, we got Cyberpunk 2077, 50% off for $24.99. Feel like I can start recommending this game. I mean, hell, if 1 million players each day are jumping into Cyberpunk 2077, if you have a PlayStation 5, it's a pretty good buy at this price point. Obviously, if you only have a PlayStation 4, X-nay on buying it right now, but the PS5 version runs really well. Game from a narrative standpoint is solid. Is it a little bit bare bones from, like, the RPG element standpoint? Maybe, but I still think the game is solid. The world is beautiful, in my opinion, and hopefully they do develop the world of Cyberpunk even more, because I think what they have on a groundwork level is really, really good. You know, don't be dropping $50 on the game, but $25, I think you're going to get a sizable RPG with some replay value. It's a fairly good pickup in my opinion, and, you know, the expansion's going to come out. If you want to wait, you can wait for, like, at some point they'll do a complete edition, I'm sure, and they'll include all the content, but yeah, 25 bucks, good buy. If you do have Plus Premium, there is a 5-hour game trial, so go and try that out if you're interested. You know, that is something you can do if you have the top tier Plus subscription. Next up, we have Doom Eternal, the Deluxe Edition, $23.09 for this. Feel like this is a pretty good buy. You get Doom Eternal, and you get all the additional content, Ancient Gods 1 and 2, you got some skin packs and things like that as well. That's not that big of a deal. Doom Eternal is a game that I really enjoyed. Obviously, I get into this game for the single player, and the single player is fast-paced, it's visceral, it's bloody, and all of those elements are really strong. With the expansions included as well, I think this is a pretty solid value pickup if you want a fast-paced first-person shooter, a gory one at that. $23.09 is a pretty good pickup, all things considered. And the campaign's got a good bit of length to it as well, so solid buy there. Speaking of which, another Bethesda first-person shooter, Wolfenstein Alternate History Collection, is $19.79. This has a lot of content for your money. Wolfenstein the New Order, Wolfenstein the Old Blood, Wolfenstein 2 the New Colossus, and Wolfenstein Youngblood. Youngblood is a co-op title that's not very good, so, you know, you can kind of just ignore that, but New Order, Old Blood, and New Colossus, all of that for $19.79 is pretty damn good. You know, Wolfenstein is definitely out there as far as narrative, and sometimes it gets a little wacky, but gameplay-wise, I enjoyed all those games immensely outside of Youngblood, but yeah, New Order was great. Old Blood was a shorter experience, but still pretty good. New Colossus I thought was really good, so yeah, all that for $19.79. I think that's a fairly good pickup, and they have a good bit of length to them as well from their campaign standpoint, so overall, I think that's a very good buy. A couple of JRPGs to mention. NieR Replicant is 50% off for $29.99. Another pricey deal here, given that this is a remake of what was a PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 RPG. You know, that is a hefty price. However, NieR Replicant is really good. I know that most people are going to prefer NieR Automata, and Automata is definitely the better game, but Replicant's still pretty damn good, man. The narrative is strong. You know, it's definitely a little hard to follow, but it's really, really good, and once you actually can understand everything going on in the game, there's a lot of wild stuff happening in NieR. Soundtrack, obviously, one of the best soundtracks in a JRPG that you're gonna come across. I would put NieR right up there with, like, the top-tier soundtracks in any video game, to be perfectly honest, and the gameplay's fairly solid as well. Is it, you know, as good as Automata? No, but still pretty good. $29.99, I think it's a good buy, and I would give that a shout. Next up, a JRPG that I think is super underrated, SCARLET Nexus. $24 if you're a Plus subscriber, $27 if you're not. I thought SCARLET Nexus was fantastic, man. Another game with a really underrated soundtrack here. Not as good as NieR, let's not get it twisted, but really good soundtrack, and cast of characters have a lot of depth. You gotta play the game twice because you have two playable main characters in Yuto and Kasane, and you'll get more of an understanding of the story and the characters and whatnot by going through the game twice. So you're looking at 50 or so hours of gameplay. They've kept this game updated as well with new content and whatnot, and there is some DLC, but it's not like super necessary, but overall definitely would give this a shout. There is a Scarlet Nexus demo available as well, so if you do want to check that out, that is an option. But yeah, really enjoyed Scarlet Nexus. Really hoping they do a sequel for this game, because I think there's a lot of ways you can go with the IP, and it's so unique from a premise standpoint, so definitely give that one a look. And lastly, do want to give a shout to Azure Striker Gunvolt Striker Pack. This includes the first 2 titles, so you get Azure Striker Gunvolt as well as Gunvolt 2. If you're a fan of side-scrolling action games, you know, Mega Man style titles, this is pretty good. You know, the initial price point, like $40, $50, little hefty there. $19.99 I think is a much more palatable price. And yeah, if you want a throwback side-scrolling action title, you'll find that here. I quite enjoyed my time with it, but yeah, just keep your expectations in line. It's not like these are super big budget games. Story's, you know, story's pretty decent. I wouldn't say it's absolutely blow away, but yeah, from a gameplay standpoint, that's where Azure Striker really shines. So that's going to do it for me. As always, links to all of these deals will be in the description box below. Tried to mention some games that, you know, I don't mention all too often with, you know, 13 Sentinels, Cyberpunk. I don't really mention that much in deals videos and whatnot. NieR Replicant, Scarlet Nexus, a lot of great deals. Tales of Arise, you know, a little bit pricier, but, you know, Dying Light 1, $12.49 for that. You can't really beat that. But that's going to do it for me. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.